Free advice, would you like some free advice? Free advice forever.
Welcome back to the podcast, guys.
Yes, sorry that we missed you last week. I hope you missed us too.
What did you do on your summer break?
Me? This summer?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
I mean, I was talking to the listeners, but it's fine.
What
you
did
can
I
say.
do this summer?
Yeah.
This summer to me was defined as the One Hump Heart Summer. I'm pretty sure I did a one-man show in the Hollywood Fringe Festival, and that feels like the most significant event of my summer break. Not that summer is as meaningful to me as it was when I was a child, and it meant the lack of school. But it's still an important milestone of the year and something that I look forward to as I feel it approaching. How about you?
Yeah. Great. Wow. That was a hell of a succinct answer.
Thanks.
Okay. My summer break. What has my summer break been defined by?
Not very succinct so far.
Not really much. Yeah.
Could be succincter. You asked the question. You had plenty of time to prepare while I was talking.
But when I talk to you, I listen, and then I have to think.
Ooh, shots fired.
I'm not just sitting here looking into your eyes, preparing what I'm going to say.
While I'm listening, I'm judging you. That's what clearly I'm doing. By
Yeah. Oh, I'm aware.
Very
It's
succinct.
palpable.
Am I holding good space for you right now, or am I kind of fucking that up?
Yeah, no, it's all good, but I'd really like to just
Yeah.
remove myself from the pressure of having to come up with a good answer on
Sure.
summer break. It's like when you come back from school and it's like, what'd you do over the summer? And everyone's like, was it good enough? Did I do enough? Did I get enough done? Did I enjoy myself enough? I'm
Right.
like, I don't know.
I ask a lot of people how they spent their weekends on Sunday nights, and very rarely does anyone have an answer. I think it's a lack of confidence that whatever they say will be interesting enough, so they always say nothing. Just worked.
Yeah.
Nothing. Work. Oh, I don't even know what you do. What's your job? What's work for you? You know?
Yeah, there's literally no information in that answer.
Yeah. I want to communicate the subtext directly and be like, just tell me something specific about you that we can talk about. I don't really care what you did this weekend.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
I always try to steal right past that. Like when you're online dating, for example, I do not want to tell you, what do I do for fun? Where do I want to travel? What did I do this weekend? How's my Wednesday been? I don't give a fuck about any of that shit. I want to be like, what are you thinking about? What's your biggest goal? Like, what don't you like about yourself? What do you like about yourself? Like, I want to talk about something real.
Yeah.
I don't want to just like list off events that I have to then be like, is this okay?
Yeah.
Is this sufficient?
What's
do
your
enough?
most recent challenge? There's one that gets to like what do you dislike about yourself without being so pointed and potentially triggering a person's insecurities.
Sure. Well, I mean,
What's this thing you struggled with recently?
yeah. Well, I was going to say in a dating context, though, it is kind of interesting to be like, what would you change about yourself?
Sure.
I do want to know their insecurities.
I think that you have the advantage of a woman's perspective of too many potential, especially online dating, like getting a lot of interest that you can afford to have that type of a filter question. Whereas if someone responds to me on an online dating app, that's a rarer thing if it's someone that I'd actually be interested in. So I'm tending to play it like get to the in-person meeting and then I can ask those filter questions. But like that's a major hurdle that I'm trying not to just scare people off even in the online phase.
I feel like that is a common difference between men and women with online dating, where men are more often than not trying to get to the in-person things so that they can begin the filtration process. And for women, it's like to even invest in often going on the first date.
Because they have so many opportunities from flooded inboxes, right?
That makes a lot of sense, I guess.
They have to filter online and men have to filter in person.
I think it's also sort of the types of criteria that are more or less important to each gender. I mean, I think I think not only does getting in person for the man let him know if he's like physically attracted to her, but it also, if he is, gets him closer to like shooting his shot. Whereas for women, it's like, we don't want to
Shooting his shot.
Shooting his fucking shot.
How literal do you mean that?
super literal.
Okay.
Coming into her vagina and possibly creating offspring, like from a
I
biological
thought we were
standpoint.
talking metaphors here of like
No,
taking
much
a
closer
shot.
to making a baby if you're in person with someone than if you're still texting. But for a woman, it's like, okay, I don't want to waste a bunch of time like probably having to reject this guy
Yeah.
in person.
Yeah.
And that's
if
like
you're a
uncomfortable.
woman, there's the added thing of you're responsible for the man's feelings, so you got to take that into account.
What? I'm sorry.
It's
What did you mean by that?
It's a satire or irony. I'm speaking sarcastically. Of many people feel that way.
Yeah.
Many women think that. So this is maybe an advanced joke for some of our listeners, but you're not responsible for a man's feelings. Some people may make you feel that way and blame you and ask you to deal with their feelings. If they're hurt and feeling rejected, they may act like that's your problem that you have to take care of for them. It's not. It's okay to reject people.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard. Not that interested in doing it very often.
Yeah.
Want to avoid it if possible. Try to filter as tightly as I can to avoid having to do that. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, then it prevents me from like taking a chance on someone who might be a great fit for me, just because I'm like, well, most often when I don't pre-select for like all these different filters, like I end up, disappointed or just kind of getting exactly what I expect in terms of that. So, thus ends our segue potentially into online dating gender differences. But please.
What you just said, I think, is an important truth.
Please tell me that I said something important.
Yeah, you did.
Fuck yeah.
Your ability to handle, or your confidence in your ability to handle rejection and rejecting others is what allows you to experience more love and let it in. So if you're unconfident in your ability to be rejected and handle that feeling, or reject others and detach yourself from that feeling of responsibility or guilt, then you will also experience less acceptance and less love. Mm-hmm. And so learning to love is also learning to let it go.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And you love okay something, letting it go. Yeah.
And learning to let go first may actually be like a better way to get there.
Yeah. I mean, this is reminding me a lot of, the way my last relationship unfolded. Mm-hmm. I felt like I had to let that person go because I couldn't tolerate knowing that our relationship was causing him so much pain.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was in pain too, but I was like shoving it away. Like I wasn't looking at it. I was going like, this doesn't matter as much.
Minimizing your own pain.
Yeah, but it did. I was struggling in it too because I was so worried about taking care of this other person. Man, what a bummer.
Yeah. I can relate to minimizing my own pain when I witness somebody else's, and I think it probably goes back to certain episodes in each of our childhoods, learning to take care of other people instead of ourselves. Mm-hmm. I'd like to share something that I told you just over breakfast on this.
I would love for you to do that.
I'm training to be a Zendo sitter at Burning Man, which is somebody who sits with people who are having a challenging experience out there, and specifically people who have taken drugs and or are just having a difficult emotional time and need someone to be with them and help guide them through it or sit with them through it. Mm-hmm. And I was doing my training this morning. One of the quiz questions was, if somebody is curled up into the fetal position and says that they feel like they're about to explode, but they're worried they might hurt something, what is the proper reaction for you to give as their sitter? And one of them was like, tell them to contain themselves because they're a danger to themselves or others. And then another, the correct answer, according to this education program, was to move objects away for them to create more space, ask other people to move if necessary, and let them explode and be bigger and express that destructive or angry feeling. Mm-hmm. And it really struck a chord with me when I imagined myself doing it. I was like, oh man, this is something that I wanted to do as a kid, as a teenager.
Explode.
Yeah, and I didn't ever. I can't. Maybe football is like what I was supposed to channel that into, but I don't think I ever really connected my personal. I was kind of detached and thought it was silly when they would try and work us up and to get angry. And like, you take it all out on the field, like punish them, like whatever's happening in your personal life, channel that into hitting the other guy harder.
Yeah.
I don't know. That never I always thought that was kind of ridiculous. I'm like, no, I'm doing a technical maneuver in football. Like, it's not about anger at my parents or teachers, or they're not related in my head, and it felt strange to me that the coaches would try to ask us to do that. But now maybe I see some value in that. I think I needed a different kind of container for that.
Right. And
maybe one that wasn't so public and involved with the other guys on the team that I didn't feel like my values aligned with in terms of like how they approached their relationships with women, for instance.
I was pretty depressed, pretty angry, a little underneath the depression probably, in my, angsty young teen years. And my 8th grade year was especially difficult. That was sort of when I started to be experiencing more severe depressive episodes. And that whole year was just so fucking frustrating. On a day when my parents were out, I gathered up, like at the end of the school year, I gathered up all of my books and assignments and binders and papers from that year. And I put them in a pile in the backyard, and I got a metal baseball bat and workers' gloves and my boombox, and I just blared like teen angsty music and just beat the crap out of all of these vestiges of that year. That was the most fun maybe I've ever had. I need to do that again. I was like ripping pages, throwing them in the air. Like, it was such a great expression of just like, this all is over. It's behind me. I'm so angry with how it unfolded. And I just want to like put it behind me and almost like by destroying it, turn it into a completely different type of energy and like release some of that pent up stuff that I had to bottle down in order to get through this year. And I really haven't given myself the chance to explode like that. Since I've tried other things for anger release that, are good enough. They're okay, but they don't leave me as totally satisfied and relaxed as that did.
I like that image.
Yeah.
You doing that?
I went at it for like hours. I was fucking pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder what are the mainstream solutions to this? I think that I've rejected some of them in rejecting like certain sports philosophies or maybe martial arts, maybe like competition in general. I think is a healthy outlet for aggression in a controlled like way that it doesn't hurt other people or hurts them in a way that they agree to.
There are very few like socially sanctioned ways to get out your anger or aggression. And that's so sad because it just builds up and it makes people explode and do things that are really harmful.
Interesting. I'd like to delve further into this topic and make this an ongoing conversation.
Oh, of course.
About like how to develop
a favorite topic of
an
mine.
anger practice that is constructive or that is destructive in a way that's helpful.
Yeah. Some of the things I've done is I bought a foam like big hammer that's like a costume thing, and I just like I whack my bed or my couch, anything that can take that type of abuse. You can also rip like magazines, phone books, newspapers. What are other things? You can like angrily journal. That's a little less violent. Yep. I mean, try different things and see what's satisfying. Yell. Sing really loud, stomp around, let yourself throw a genuine tantrum because there is a kid somewhere in you that is still tantruming about something. And that will help that come out rather than unconsciously inform decisions that you're making that you probably wouldn't want to make based on a tantruming toddler inside of you. But yeah, sometimes if I'm like in a pool or a body of water, you can like pound on it with your fists.
Oh, that feels great.
Yeah, you can kick at like the waves at the
slapping
beach.
the water. Chopping, getting a big wall of it to come up in the air.
Yes. Things where you can see the environment responding to your movement are really empowering.
Yeah, David and I at Myrtle Beach would go out to where the waves break and punch them and
Yes.
be beach defenders.
Beach
We would appoint ourselves as responsible for defending the beach from the waves.
I love
and then
that.
go attack the waves to protect the beach. I think there's this. It's like part of the male upbringing society like role that you're given, the gender enculturation
defender.
of like you must defend.
Yeah.
You must be like
You must protect.
Exactly. That's like what a hero, a male hero's value is. And so this is like the role that we were getting to act out for a completely nonsense. It's very like Wayne Manor of us. Sorry, I'm getting into the weeds, but like
What's Wayne Manor? Tell the listeners.
It was a satire of fraternity culture. It was. That's
It was
what appealed to us.
less
Is
of
like
a satire.
you weren't inside of it. It was very. Here's what it was. It was a bunch of guys who wanted the benefits of a fraternity, the girls that came with that, the camaraderie, friendship, the closeness, but were uncomfortable with the way that appeared to them. The associations around it, maybe the way that it was like involved in rape culture or in destructive broiness. And so there was this tension between like, how much do we actually buy into these things and how much are we making fun of them?
Right,
There was a lot of guys who were uncomfortable in their own identity that found each other and did that together.
So
and like made a game out of like, I think I'm this thing, but I'm making fun of this thing too.
Yeah, so it was basically a bunch of like self-righteous, confused. Is that right? Identity confused, little self-righteous. Didn't want to be in fraternity culture. Where basically a fraternity functioned exactly the same way.
I think it's that's a critical way of looking at it, which has truth in it, but it's not the entire story.
Of course,
there are individuals in it that represent that, and they may be the most visible ones. This is me defending college. My college.
I know,
group
I'm
from
forcing
like 8
you to
years
do
ago.
that. I liked Wayne Manor. I loved you guys. I wish we hung out with you more. I was in a sorority, and I was also in another selective living group.
In a selective living group.
Yeah, so Wayne Manor was what was called a selective living group.
Yes.
Which was like an alternative to Greek life, but based on
Operated
kind of the
in
same
much the same
principles.
way, yeah.
Yeah.
But didn't have like a national chapter or robes in a Greek letter.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just busting your balls.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say on those topics before we move on to the
Anger and Greek life? No, I'm good.
Okay. I think it's a topic I'd like to re-explore at some point. I haven't like really revisited my college years in the way that I have my child. I'll work up to it. I think I'm going through childhood now and re-noticing things and discovering like what missed opportunities for growth there were, what I struggled with in particular, and like I'll get to college.
I think it's appropriate for us to be talking about college in this episode because it's our 20th, 21st?
I don't know.
Okay. Sorry. So it's somewhere in there. It's in the college years. Yeah. It's in the collegiate years.
Okay. So, yeah. We're in college in this episode.
Makes sense.
Great. I'm responsible for the lightning round in this episode, though.
Fuck yeah.
And we're gonna take a question from a 16-year-old to start things
I love
off.
it.
It's close enough, right? It's not like a question from to the whatever episode number we're on, the college years.
Oh.
All right. This one comes from Admiral _meme vacuum. Admiral meme vacuum.
Okay.
How can a slightly overweight person find some perfect for him? Hello, I am 16. I am a guy, and no girl finds me attractive. I know people will say for me to lose weight, but I have tried, and it does nothing. I just would like to know. I just would like to how to get a girl's heart without breaking out obsession and discomfort towards them. I have only gone on one date, and she considered it a hangout, in quotations.
Okay.
I just need some advice.
Okay.
Lightning round.
Yeah. Okay. So sounds like to me this person is feeling self-conscious about the way that they show up in a dating context and the response that they're getting from the opposite sex. And they're kind of pinning it on their weight primarily or their appearance maybe. And concluding that no one's ever attracted to them, or they said some sort of absolute statement like that.
They've only gone on one date, and she considered it a hangout.
No, earlier in the question, it was like, no one finds me attractive.
Yeah, I'm a guy and no girl finds me attractive.
Yeah. So I would look at let's suspend disbelief for a minute and imagine that you...
Lightning round.
I know. I'm so slow. I'm sorry. What is causing you to feel like you are, without a doubt, not attractive to anyone? I mean, because that's a limiting belief you have about yourself.
Right.
And I the reason I was hesitating is because I don't want to like go right into like, hey, you're totally wrong, because that's not going to help anyone. But validating the emotion of like, yeah, it really sucks to feel repeatedly rejected, especially when you feel like, okay, it's this thing about me that either I can't change or it just lands me in a category that is women at this age that you're into maybe have a harder time seeing past or aren't as interested in pursuing a serious relationship. So they're not, they're going for the eye candy, shall we say. I think that of course you're going to want to go on dates and work on this part of yourself and feel accepted by the opposite sex. But that also being said, it's unfair to you to hinge all of your opinion about yourself based on the attention you do or don't get from the opposite sex. So I would try to do an exercise of investigating. You're
recommending exercise?
No. That's funny though.
Thank you.
Yeah, one sit-up, and then I would do an exercise where you pretend you're a potential female that's interested in you and see what you can describe, how you can describe yourself as someone who's attractive.
Yeah.
Because my guess is you see yourself as unattractive, and then you walk into a situation where there are girls, and you're already wearing right on your face, I think I'm unattractive. And that's the energy that you're coming at it with.
Yes.
And so that's probably what they're seeing. So if you're not even sort of selling yourself as this person who has potential, is attractive, has things to offer, how is anyone else going to see you that way?
Yes. My one line of advice, read Models Attract Women Through Honesty by Mark Manson. Second line is, what do you want in this situation? I think you want to be happy, and you believe you'll be happier if you find connection, if you find someone perfect for you. This may be true. There are other routes to getting there, but I understand that right now that it feels like an important piece that you haven't yet experienced in your life, and I want that for you. So how can you find somebody and make that connection? Well, there's two routes to that. There's increasing the range of people that you find attractive and worthy of connecting with. You may find that there are already people who are attracted to you who you did not previously consider worth asking that question about. So how can you do that more? I think you can like other people more by practicing liking yourself more and accepting your own flaws. As you practice that, you will find that the things that bother you about other people will start to fade away. So is there a girl that you think is too overweight for you to care whether she's attractive to you or not? As you become more comfortable with your own excess weight, you may not judge her as much for that thing. And this applies to beyond just that simple category of like, if you accept your weight, you accept somebody else's weight. You may also accept their
deeper traits.
Yeah, their dishonesty or their whatever it is. So that is a way to expand your range of people that you like. And then another thing is like yourself more to make yourself more attractive. I think there's two ways about this. You can either lose the weight, and specifically it'd be mostly dieting and then incorporating some regular movement. The way that exercise is taught to kids can often be like a punishment or some kind of compulsory thing where they're pushed way too hard and they're not eased into it. Find your own edge for what feels like. And the shitty thing is, like, as you start practicing this, it is going to hurt for the first couple weeks. Anytime you're going from one routine to another, there's some friction, some pain associated with like breaking what you're used to. So if you're living like mostly you're sitting down and playing video games or studying or doing schoolwork, and you start moving around for an hour or more a day, that will initially kind of hurt. But please trust in the process that if you give it a couple weeks, it'll start to feel good and it'll be something that you crave. Same thing with food. If you're currently eating a lot of processed foods, things that are high in sugar, it's going to suck as you move towards more natural foods or eating more healthy portion sizes or in a schedule that's better aligned, like stopping late night snacking, sugary breakfasts. And if you do all that, you will lose weight. But it's going to suck for a couple weeks. I'll admit that. And you have to just trust the process. You can look up your own diet routine. For me, when I was in 3rd grade, I lost 20 pounds from quitting all desserts. It was helpful to have that kind of hard line. I'm just not doing this.
Yeah. And maybe one thing at a time.
Yeah. It depends. You know yourself. You can either, maybe you're motivated by making an extreme resolution, or you're an incremental person who it's easier. And try both, maybe. And if one fails for you, then try the other. The incremental method would be to just cut out one dessert one night a week, and then the next week cut out 2, and then have one cheat day a week eventually by the end of the month or something. That'd be like an incremental way of doing it.
So you're recommending a weight loss program?
If you are unhappy with the way your body looks, I think you should do both, of trying to change your body and trying to change the way that you think about your body.
Yeah.
Because then if either succeed, you win. So accept your body as it is more. And if it's unhealthy, then I think it's good to try to change it. If you're already healthy and you're trying to change it to meet an unhealthy ideal, like whether that's gaining a lot of weight to be a sumo wrestler, or I don't know, people have different.
As many 16-year-olds are.
Many
trying
are.
and failing.
That's actually the age that is a critical, important age for sumo wrestlers to enter the dojo competitions.
The other option
is getting more comfortable and seeing the beauty of your body the way that it is.
Yeah. And this will spur motivation for you to continue to do things to help yourself and to love yourself better, take better care of yourself, if you recognize yourself as someone who deserves that kind of love and that kind of treatment.
Find role models who resemble you in whether it's the shape of their body or the look of their face, that you can identify with, like, oh yeah, I kind of resemble that person. People who are confident and like themselves and have fun and who feel that they are worthy around other people. Start studying those people. Maybe listen to an interview of theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe Jack Black. I don't know. He's somebody who's very funny and self-possessed, and I think very attractive to many people, despite not having typical height and proportions of a Chris Hemsworth or whoever.
Mm-hmm. My mind went right to Jonah Hill. Because he's also always fluctuating in weight.
Yeah. Yeah, he does fluctuate.
Yeah.
That's true.
So maybe Seth Rogen then.
Maybe Seth Rogen. Yeah.
Maybe someone a little healthier.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure that these guys have had found their someone perfect for them at various points in their life and been attractive and found women who find them attractive.
Yeah. The only person that's really going to be perfect for you is you. So start working on that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it also, I want to validate that it does feel important to get that type of acceptance from somebody.
Of course.
And I want that for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll come. You won't be 16 forever.
You got to start giving it to yourself. Mm-hmm. That's the long-term resolve of this issue.
Yes.
Because otherwise you are just bouncing in and out of relationships trying to get that validation outside of you.
Yeah. And I think right now, though, it's okay to seek that.
Yeah. It's always okay to seek it. It's just like, here's what you should expect.
Right. You may find once you get it that there's a new relationship energy that wears off after a time, and you're left with somebody who's got their own flaws, and you're like, oh wait, this doesn't complete me in the way that I thought that it did initially. Yeah. The high might wear off after dating someone for a little while and getting comfortable.
Yeah. And then you have to actually accept their flaws and your own.
Yeah. Yes. So it's better to date people as a complete person as a starting point who's done their own healing, but I don't want to discourage.
That doesn't count a lot of 16-year-olds.
Exactly. Yes. Please give yourself some leeway and forgiveness in this.
Yes.
Okay.
Good luck.
Do you have more for him?
Nope.
Okay. Lightning round, even faster this time.
Couldn't be slower.
Okay. Bird people. Okay, this is from Casey Jones 7. Bird people of Reddit. What are some ways I can keep my bird from screaming every time I leave the room? Okay. So they got a screaming bird.
Okay.
I've had my bird, Jinx, for a very long time, but only since I moved away has he started screaming like crazy. Unfortunately, I have to break rule 1 when trying to stop him screaming, going into the room where he starts. This is because I live in an apartment, and if he screams, he'll annoy the neighbors. So far, there's only one thing to stop him from screaming, and that's putting him in the closet where it's dark. I hate doing that though, since it's cruel.
Well, I want to know if you already put a towel over him at night, because that's what we had birds. I had birds growing up.
Yeah, great. You're a bird. People have read it.
I'm more of a bird person than a Reddit person, probably.
Okay. I'm more of a bird person in that I look like a bird, but I've never personally cared for birds. My birds in my house were my brother's.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, mine were technically my mom's. I didn't care for them that much. But I was also very invested in them being quiet because I was always annoyed by them.
Did they scream?
They didn't scream, but any kind of chip-chapping was like annoying while I was trying to do my homework at the kitchen table. But so at night, we always had the practice of putting a towel over them.
Yes.
Because that sort of keeps them quiet
Because
at
they
night,
were
keeps
wet.
it dark, whatever. Yeah, because we're always drying them off. They're always going down slip and slides without our permission. So that's a possible thing, is you could either to create a dark contained environment or to block out their vision of their ability to see you.
Yes.
But I do wonder if that's only a short-term solution. I'm genuinely not sure. You could scream back at them. I have no idea.
I don't think that would help.
Okay.
I think that's modeling to the bird that screaming is how it gets what it wants. It said,
Okay.
The Casey Jones 7 said that they know they're breaking the number 1 rule by going into the room, like basically reinforcing the behavior of screaming.
Okay.
So they recognize that they shouldn't do that.
Indulging the scream.
Yeah, that they're teaching it. This is how I get attention by screaming. Then the person will come.
Yeah.
So I think that you've already made a great
The
recognition
towel
there.
is really the best I've got.
I want to question, why is it cruel to put a bird in the dark? Doesn't the night do that every day? And is the earth cruel to birds by making them go into the dark for like 12 hours at a time? I don't think so, personally.
I think it's just the associations of like, oh, I'm going to hide him in a small space. Like, I think emotionally to us that feels like, oh, solitary
Isn't this
confinement.
bird caged anyway?
Yeah, I think it's just your guilt.
Yeah. Put the bird in the dark.
A-okay.
You're not, yeah.
Free advice, seal of approval to put the bird in the closet.
Put the bird in the closet. Lightning round. Done. Next.
Much quicker.
Good work. I think we nailed that one.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, this one's from WannabeGL. How do I ask a girl her age casually? 19-year-old male here. I got asked out by a girl while on shift, but she looks kind of young. I don't mind dating her, but I should probably figure out her age for 1, legal reasons, and 2, it does matter to me. I just started texting her. I've never had a relationship, more so even message a girl. What should I do?
Okay. Wow. All right. So congrats first
Yeah.
of all. Good
Cool, man.
job. You're in there.
Yeah, take a moment to just smile and enjoy. Here's somebody who's into you. Whether it works out or not, it's a great feeling.
Yeah. So should we start with some joke answers or should we go right for wage?
Yeah,
Okay.
don't be serious.
Definitely ask about what type of music she likes. Who's her favorite band?
Why is that a joke answer? That seems like great advice. Is that a joke?
I mean,
It's not
I don't
very
know. I
funny,
mean, it
Morgan.
could land you. You're right. It's not funny.
What was the joke? Explain to me the humor in that,
Okay,
please.
it's not that funny, but it was just basically like, because my real answer is just ask her, obviously. But my joke answer is
the music
try
will
to
tell you
zero
how
in
old.
on it
Okay.
through her
Ask
pop
which
culture
is-
references.
Okay. Ask which
I
is
know.
her favorite Teletubby.
That is, how old do we think this person is? Teletubbies is going to predate both of them.
You're right.
Yeah.
I'm
What
so
shows
old.
do you watch? You could try to zero in on it through
Where were you when the
isolating her
Challenger
demographic.
exploded? She's fucking 40.
That's even too old for us.
He's just wildly.
Wait, is she
misinterpreted
much
her age.
older or much
She's
younger?
much
She's
younger.
much
He's
younger.
worried she's
Okay,
younger,
that's
I
what
think.
I thought.
She looks kind of young, he says.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is an
Do you
okay
go to
thing
the
to
movies
ask.
by yourself? Does your mom take you?
How is it when they're R-rated? Do you ever have any issues with that?
PG-13. You in, you out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can ask a person's age. This comes up a lot.
Yeah.
In early conversations with people. There's this cultural idea that you're not supposed to ask a woman's age, that's rude to do.
But I think that's just when they're older.
Yeah, but some people over apply this to like, oh, a woman's never supposed to tell you her age. You're not supposed to ask. fuck that. You
Yeah,
can
I think
ask.
that's silly.
I think you're not supposed to judge or disqualify a person for them being too
Yeah,
old.
you don't wanna be
That's the
ageist.
insecurity that a lot of women have, is that if they're over whatever number in their head, that then all of a sudden people like look at them as useless.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah, you're not useless whatever age you
Yeah.
are.
Some people are too young to be useful
Yes.
though. If you're 0 and you're trying to hook up
You're
with
not going to plow a
somebody,
field. Oh, useless romantically.
useless, like I guess even
Babies
0-year-olds.
probably don't suck good dick.
Well, consider how they're practiced on the nipple, their lack of teeth. I think there's a real argument to be made for baby latios. Anyway. Oh, how nice the refrigerator stopped.
Fantastic.
That hum is gone.
Oh, wow. I bet it will return.
Let's focus our energies back to the situation here. What are we talking about?
Okay, so the other thing though,
Just
as a
ask her her
woman,
age, yeah.
as a woman or a girl, when I was younger, I also look young for my age. So I actually was self-conscious about seeming too young around probably the age that this girl is. But yeah, I don't think that changes anything, but it does mean, it's okay to be sensitive to the fact that she might be self-conscious about being younger than you, or thinking, oh, is he going to think I'm not mature enough?
Yeah.
Is he going to think I'm not experienced enough?
Yeah.
So ask directly and let her know that whatever the answer is, it's okay. Mm-hmm. You can let her know where your head's at.
The the common sense advice formula for determining whether it's okay to date a person is half of your age plus 7. So in this case, 9.5 plus 7 gives you 16.5. So if she's 16 and a half and you're 19, then it's okay to date. And if she's below that, it's not. Obviously, there are exceptions to this rule. There are 17-year-olds that would not be okay for you to date. And there are probably 15-year-olds that you would have a great relationship if it were legal, where you are.
There's a lot of variation in maturity around this time.
Yes. Yeah. So while the age can be a good general guideline, I think the most important thing is whether the relationship is constructive or destructive to its participants. And if there's a massive imbalance in maturity, then or power, then it can be destructive to one or both of you. And that's something that you should try to avoid. But if you feel like you can have some type of a partnership, you don't have to be equal on all things. Each of you will probably be more developed than the other in certain ways. But if there's a rough equality in power and maturity, then I think go for it and observe your local laws. Yeah,
I mean, the other thing too is that if she does feel too young for you to date, you can still be friends. I mean, yes. you can have an honest discussion about, okay, given that I'm a little uncomfortable like dating you at the moment.
Yeah.
Let's develop our friendship and see where it goes. And you can
admit to this person that you're attracted to them, but you don't want to pursue any kind of physical relationship because either it's illegal or because you can say those things too. And some people may judge that, but I think that's a healthier way to deal with it than trying to deny yourself or deny your expression.
Yeah. We at Free Advice are keeping our fingers crossed that she's at least 17 for you, bud.
Yes.
Good luck.
Yeah, I guess it totally depends where you live. I don't know, right? Doesn't it? The age of consent in some states is 16.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's like the person has to be this many years older for them to count.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's crazy if a boyfriend and girlfriend are 18 and 17, and when one of them turns 18, that all of a sudden it becomes illegal.
Yeah. I think 17 and 19 is like pretty acceptable. But I would think based on where a 19-year-old is, it does, of course. But I mean, in general, I do think based on where you are in your life and the things you're trying to accomplish at 19 are very different than 16, say. Mm-hmm. Potentially not, but I don't know.
I just learned about conservatorships for adults with Down syndrome.
Oh.
And how they will legally often be assigned a conservator who decides for them when it's like basically gives consent for them to have sex with other people. Like the conservators will agree that, okay, it's okay for our adult conservatees, whatever the word is. I'm still learning this
they
stuff.
can only have sex with each other?
Their conservators have to consent to it for them. They have to decide that, like, and establish the boundaries of like, this is okay for them and this is not.
But what if it's one person with Down syndrome and one normative person?
That's something the conservator works out with the neurotypical person.
Neurotypical.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or getting married dating, like whether they're allowed to be boyfriend, girlfriend. All of these things are worked out by
What
the
is
conservators.
Wade?
I guess that depends on the individual.
We got to bring a guest on that's a conservator.
It would be great. I could probably get us a hold of one.
Fuck yes.
Yeah.
Let us know if you are interested in this idea. I mean, we might do it anyway, or we might never do it. But you know, if we had some feedback about if this is interesting to you guys,
I think it
that'd
is.
be great.
I think
it is
most
too.
people want to know about this stuff.
Yeah. Okay. That's gonna be our first official guest on Free Advice.
Great.
Choo choo.
Yeah. Okay. Next lightning round question. How can I? This one comes from Ola_soy_Dora.
Hey Dora, what's up?
Hey. How can you tell if someone brushed up against you on purpose or accident? I'm at work and someone came in as like a tobacco sales rep. I was in front of a safe trying to pull money and saw him about to walk past me, so I moved and gave him enough room. Once I moved, I turned my attention back to the safe and I felt his forearm just brush up my thigh to butt. He said sorry, but it felt like one of those sorries you say when you have to, but don't mean it. We looked at the camera. It looks like it can pass off as an accident, but I don't believe it. Everything in me feels like it was on purpose.
Wait, okay. How do you imagine them standing? So I imagine her standing and then someone's like below her, like bending down to like brush her thigh with their forearm. Oh, their forearm's down.
Yeah, I assume he's walking past and his forearm brushes her thigh up to her butt as he's moving.
I can't tell you how many dicks I've accidentally slapped just like power walking down the street. It's uncomfortable. I could see both sides of this real clear.
Yes. I think the important thing is how you feel about it. Not in terms of like getting justice. There probably won't be any punishment for him. If he repeatedly does this, then I think that you need to...
You got to start building that file.
Right. But you don't know. This is an ambiguous situation, and their intention does feel like it matters a lot in terms of whether this feels violating or not. I think it does, to me at least.
And the fact that you moved specifically to be clear away for him, and then there was still that seemingly unnecessary point of contact. Yeah, it feels skeevy, and I'm sorry that happened to you.
Yeah, me too.
Ugh. And that's just an uncomfortable place to kind of like be touched when you're not expecting it too.
Yeah.
It feels so violating. That's a good word for it. Yeah.
So what do you think? Like, I see value in interpreting an ambiguous situation as benign as possible, just to ease yourself of that negative emotion.
Yeah. Can feel minimizing.
You have to be honest with yourself about, I think you're saying that you're deeming this as on purpose. And,
based on the emotional tone of the apology too.
Yes.
I mean, of course that's subjective,
right.
But yeah, I mean, it's part of the equation. I would talk to whoever is kind of either a close friend at work or your immediate superior, just someone you feel comfortable with that at least you know is going to have your back and have your best interest at heart in giving you the advice. Someone who knows you, someone who might have had exposure to this person in the past, and someone who's going to make you feel ultimately like heard. Yes,
I think that's the most important thing, is that this isn't something that you're carrying around, not talking. I think it's great that you posted this online.
Yeah.
I think it's important that you feel heard and understood and validated by somebody
especially at the workplace.
Yes, that understands that this is a shitty feeling and this sucks to deal with, and isn't going to try to tell you, just like get over it. That could be very harmful. So try to find a person that you trust to do that. If you don't have anyone like that at your workplace, it may not be a very healthy place to work, but a lot of people have to take jobs like that anyway. A therapist would be a person who's qualified to talk to these feelings about.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Hope it doesn't happen again.
Yes, same. And if it does, then I think you can conclude with more certainty that it was intentional, and then seek someone to intervene to like get this person to respect you more and state to them your boundaries. You don't need an authority to do that for you, to say you are not allowed to touch me.
This is inappropriate. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, one more lightning round question. Nugget Faces 123 says, "What should I watch? I'd prefer it to be a movie, but I don't mind series. I do have access to Netflix, and I like comedies.
Just
and
one Netflix?
actions."
Watch that one.
I do have access to Netflix. Sorry if I misspoke.
Okay.
And I like comedies and actions.
Comedy and action.
Comedies and actions.
Well, I was thinking if I could suggest something that would fall into both of those categories.
An action comedy?
Yeah.
Lucky Number 11.
Great.
That comes to mind. That was fun for me.
Okay. I don't think I know any other action. I don't know.
That's
I'm not
the one.
very. Yeah, that's the only one I know. No, I don't even know that one. I'm not really big on movies. I'm trying to think now what would be a series maybe that I could recommend. This is definitely not my
prefer
strong
a movie.
suit.
Okay.
Oh, he'd prefer a movie.
I'd prefer it to be a movie, but I don't mind series. This was a very short question, and that's one of the only statements in it. You were so busy working on that Netflix joke. You missed the critical
Don't worry, that
information.
crap just pours out of me. I don't have to do any work.
It's okay. Our subscriber number really jumped when you landed that zinger.
Okay, comedy and action. Boy, do I ever not know any recommendations for this.
Okay. Game Night was a funny comedy. I don't know if that's on Netflix, but that's one of the straight comedies that I saw recently that I really enjoyed. Action movies that I enjoy. I really enjoy Quentin Tarantino's action movies. Django Unchained was both very funny and had great action in it for me and a compelling story, and I liked the world that was built. Those are some things that I can think of that you might enjoy watching.
I would also potentially, I don't remember the name of these things, but I used to work in independent film and we were working on basically a movie recommendation and social platform. And there are things like that. So you could look around the internet to find like movie suggestion engine or something.
Flickster, I think.
Something that will recommend it based on, like you can limit it based on genre, how you want to feel, maybe, even
previous movies that you've liked.
Yeah. Stuff like that. Because I know that Netflix's recommendation engine is pretty mediocre. Sorry, Netflix. We know you're avid listeners, but yeah, sometimes it just feels like they are not on my wavelength.
Yeah, maybe the movie 300 I could recommend. That was a good action movie. It's got a lot of cool shots and cinematography in it.
Great.
Not particularly funny, but you might not get both in the same movie.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I actually enjoyed that was like action and I kind of delighted in it. Thought it was a fun time. Aquaman.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah. I went to see it. No expectations. I was in there. I was in it. I was into it.
The Lego movie.
Oh, there you go.
Very good.
It's a great one.
Yeah. The Dark Knight. If you haven't seen that, maybe my favorite action film.
Wow.
I don't often consider it action, but it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite action movie
Yeah.
is District B13. Have you heard of that?
Mm-mm.
It's French.
Okay.
It's real weird,
Okay.
but it's also delightful.
Cool.
So if you're into reading subtitles or you don't mind reading subtitles, it could be a good choice.
Great. All right. Are you ready to move on to our big question?
Definitely. I
The
do not
storm
have
is
anything
cleared.
else to say about comedy or action movies.
Okay, great. All right, this one is kind of in the college years, as is our theme.
Oh,
we're
fabulous.
approaching late adolescence in this episode. That's kind of a theme.
Well,
for us.
we definitely did the adolescent sort of coming of agey thing last episode, so I feel like this is a nice transition.
Ooh, okay, it's actually just post college. It seems like.
Okay, that's fine.
Star_site
Okay.
asks, "How can I become a nicer person?"
Ooh.
I feel I used to be sweet to everyone in high school, but at the cost of being a bit of a doormat. In college, I had an epiphany that I was squelching my feelings in order to come off as sweet and cool-headed. Parentheses, but a wreck inside. I decided that day to let my emotions run free and not back down to others. Problem is, I let all those emotions out, but they mostly ended up being negative, angry feelings. I feel I now callously speak my mind to almost everyone. I've hurt strangers and close friends. I hate being this way. I feel that I'm driving everyone away from me, and I'll end up alone if I can't fix myself. It's been a few years, and I'm searching for advice or books on how to balance myself. I can't go back to just swallowing how I feel, but I can't keep being so awful. I'm searching for that balance of speaking softly and carrying a big stick, if you will.
Never heard that one, but sure, I will.
You haven't?
No.
Are you serious?
Are you serious right
Yes,
now?
I'm
Asking
being
me if I'm
serious and
serious?
asking
No,
you if you're
I've
serious.
never heard
I'll finish the
what?
question.
And, okay.
Any and all advice welcomed. Yeah, I didn't really need to read that last line, but I just
Wow, yeah.
Let's talk about. You've never heard of "Speak softly and carry a big stick"?
No.
I'm gonna mess this up. It was one of the Roosevelts. It was like the U.S. Motto for foreign affairs for a long time. It was like it's one of those. I don't know what's like. Manifest Destiny was one.
Yeah,
or,
sure.
Yeah,
I get it. Please define it.
So just speak softly and carry a big stick is like, let it be known that you have power, but don't like yell it. Don't act aggressively towards other people, but show that you're capable of it.
I see.
Like it's the right balance of
Big dick energy and restraint.
but not flashing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I certainly don't advocate ever for squelching your feelings, bottling them up, holding on to them. They need to be expressed somehow.
I think it's great that you had that epiphany in college.
Yeah.
And that you probably overshot the mark
Yeah.
of what's healthy to express to other people, but you maybe had to do that to just stop being such a doormat.
And the other thing too is you don't really know how your expressions are impacting people. Even if they're telling you, "Oh my God, how could you say this to me? This is the worst thing in the world." If you change your behavior from being a doormat to expressing how you feel, you do risk disappointing people and hurting their feelings.
Yes.
And that is, some extent of that is okay.
It is, and it's great to care and try to minimize unnecessary pain in other
course.
people. But as you change, as you go from being
People want you to be a doormat.
the people that you were around as a doormat and that you were close with and you worked in a good relationship with at that time in your life are probably going to struggle with following you into this new phase where you are not just being walked over.
Yeah.
And that's the sad cost of personal growth, is that it involves leaving some relationships that you really care about behind, or just like renegotiating them and finding different boundaries and a different way of relating to those people that might mean talking to them less or seeing them less.
Yeah. So that all being said,
But it's worth it.
yeah, totally. And I think that there are some healthier things that we can suggest, or maybe just more beneficial things, individual practices that you can do to express any negative feelings, disappointment, anger, rejection, a handful of others.
Yes. Here's what I'm learning and attempting to practice more over this year as I come into knowing the anger that I feel. You don't have to express it in the moment to the person that is causing it in order to. You don't always have to. You can, and that's an option that is good to have tried and know what that feels like, and it can be very productive. But sometimes if you don't have an accompanying request for that person, it can be healthier to find somebody who you can vent to about that person. Picking the right person is complicated, and you don't want to become someone who just talks shit about people behind their backs and never expresses to them what you'd like to see differently. But a therapist can be a great person. A emotional support group, for instance, I'm in one called Everyman. There are plenty of talk therapy, emotional support groups like that, where it's focused on like feel the feeling that you're having of anger about somebody and express it. Get up, yell, spin, punch a pillow. Journaling can be a great one. Writing somebody a letter that you don't send to them, where you say exactly what you want to say.
Yes.
That's a healthy way. And you may find, oh, I said 8 things to them, and 2 of them would actually be helpful for them to know, and they may hurt, but there is like some request or limit that I am setting on that person that I can express this in a way that they are more likely to hear it. But it's important to do that first step of getting it out for yourself so that you can feel it and you can see it. Yes.
I think it's really important to give yourself permission to just dump out all of your feelings, you know, in a contained environment where it's just you reading it, like a letter. Or one of the things that I tried recently that I found profoundly and surprisingly helpful was just recording myself talking, just a recording a voice note.
Yeah.
Even more so than just talking out loud to myself. There was something about that added imagined listener that gave it a whole different tone and really set up a great container. And so anyway, so the idea is that you allow yourself to dump all this stuff out without filtering, just giving yourself permission to drop it and let it come out of you. And then worrying about, okay, what are the productive things to call out? What can I actually, kind of change the tone of and communicate in a way that would productively benefit the relationship?
Yes.
And that way, when it does come out, you've already dumped all of the emotional baggage. So those things aren't coming out as spears through your words attacking that person that have the potential to be more hurtful. But they're getting communicated, and you're not just internally going, ugh, I wish this relationship were different, or why didn't I say this to them or that to them? Because those things, the energy of them ends up being, if you hold on to them, I'm not worth bothering communicating with this person. I'm not worth getting my needs met when you don't take those steps to advocate for yourself. And when that piles up, you are just steeping in being a doormat.
Then you're back to high school
You're
self.
back there.
And I feel you. You do not want to go back to that place.
Yeah. It feels extra crappy when you know what you're doing is something that you used to do and you're regressing.
Yes.
That can be
There
really
is
hard.
a middle path between these two things, and you can find it, and you will probably overshoot in each direction on your attempts along the way.
Yes.
That's okay. Don't give up on it or feel like you have to surrender to just being either a doormat or an asshole.
Yes.
You can be a person with a proper amount of self-respect who is firm with people and loving.
Yes, and occasionally you will still get taken advantage of, and occasionally you will still have outbursts that people won't like. But it's important to not allow those momentary experiences to color how you see yourself in general.
Yes.
You are still a complete, worthwhile person with those momentary discomforts.
And each time that you feel that discomfort, some kind of pain from being taken advantage of or hurting another person, that is an opportunity to learn something. It's an opportunity to grow. Write down how it feels and what led up to that feeling.
Yeah.
And then you can look for patterns as you reread next time. Oh, did that happen again? Was I taken advantage of again in a way that reminds me of, let me look back at my journal from 3 months ago when there was a similar situation. Oh, shit, I'm becoming a little bit too much of a doormat. What's the underlying thing? Is it like, maybe issues surrounding food? Am I not respecting that I need to eat a certain way or a certain amount, and I'm giving too much of my food away to other people? Okay, then this is a specific topic that I can grow from. Having that record will be helpful for you to identify those triggers for you or the things that cause you to get taken advantage of or hurt other people.
I want to say a couple more things. Similarly to keeping a record or a journal or some kind of document that you can refer back to, having an accountability buddy, somebody who you trust, like a close friend or a family member that you feel like, okay, this person has experienced me in a variety of contexts. I can trust them to report honestly on how this or that is affecting them. This person can be a valuable resource to run things by. Did you think this was too much? Was that okay? And they will often be able to provide you with a less biased account than what can be a kind of a dramatic narrative that you're calling up in your head about, like, oh, I'm always all bad or all good.
Yeah, I agree with that.
There was something else I wanted to say.
Value of friends.
Yes, super valuable. And then you can also remember that, excuse me, I touched the table. You can also remember that, like you, these people that you are bumping into and having interactions with are having their own journeys of personal growth or not, or whatever they're doing. They're collecting their own evidence about what kind of person are they and how do they want to change how they're interacting with people, what works, what doesn't. And if you report honestly to them how their behavior makes you feel, that's evidence for them.
Yep.
That's something for them to think about. You're not only burdening them or making them uncomfortable by revealing your honest response to them. You are providing them with a data point.
Data. Your truth is a gift.
Yeah.
Great.
Fuck yeah.
I think we nailed that question. Do you have more to say?
Boom, done. No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm excellent.
Cool. Well, guys, this was free advice. I think a pretty powerful episode. What did you say?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think so.
How do you think we did on our scale of 1 to 10?
85 out of 100.
85 out of 100.
Yeah.
So you didn't want to use
Could've
my
been
scale. You didn't want to say 8.5.
No, fuck your shit. I'm
Yeah.
great inflation over here.
Yeah,
Times 10. 8.5,
I also.
fine. I don't care.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kidding.
0.85 out of 1.
Can you keep moving the decimal point around? I don't think I get it yet.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't feel as loose as I sometimes do.
Yeah.
But also, generally, I've noticed a trend of me like not feeling as loose, not feeling as comfortable, feeling like heavy when we start this, and I do not know why.
Is that all right? It's just a different type of episode, but like,
Yeah.
I don't think that it has to be light every time and full of giggles. There were some good giggles. If you got through this episode not giggling, write us. We'll send you a prize.
We'll send you a half an hour of invented Rob stand-up, and you can giggle your little
Invented?
face off.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Rob's gonna just wing a 30-minute piece of stand-up for you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, write us and Morgan will send you her socks. Oh, you're just offering shit from me?
Yeah.
Wait, no, how about I get to offer my own shit? I'm going to set a boundary with you.
Okay.
You don't offer services of Rob to our podcast listeners. Rob offers Rob services. You can offer your socks up as much as you want. I'm sure there are some lovely people on the internet that would pay up to $80 for your socks. Even dirty. Don't even wash them.
Rob is referring to a specific experience we had.
Morgan and I were trying to get Burning Man tickets on Craigslist last year, and the only response that we got to our ad was, "Hey, is the girl selling her socks? I don't mind if they're dirty after that week in the desert. I'll give you $80 for her socks."
And that's the story of how I missed out on making $80.
Yeah.
That was a
Truly
bummer.
sad.
I should have taken advantage of that. I still could.
You probably could hit them up and be like, "Hey, how have you been this last year?"
Boy, do I have a sock for you.
Great. Okay,
It's sweaty, it's dusty, it's stinky.
Yeah. Missed opportunities, but fun adventures and memories. So,
Yeah.
Just think about that. If you ever find yourself, like, your truth is you want somebody's sock and they have a post online, don't do this in a way of, like, I know where you live and I'm coming for those socks, whether you like it or not. But just asking for what you want and saying, "Hey, I'm willing to pay $80 for your socks." That could give somebody a really funny story. If you're not attached to whatever reaction you get, if you're not so attached to having those socks and putting them in your mouth, I assume is what you're going to do with those socks. If you're not so attached to that outcome and you just give it up to the universe, your truth, that's created a great story for me and Morgan to bond over and then to share on our podcast as kind of a little light accoutrement for the denouement at the end of it's something French. Coup de grace. Soufflé. Foie gras. For the end of our podcast, to tuck you all into bed. Make sure that you've brushed your teeth.
And then we're going to do some naughty sock puppet theater.
Sock bucket theater?
Listen. I aired.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. You still accept me?
I do.
Cool.
I want you to tuck yourself in, get nice and comfy. Don't put too many pillows under your head. If you're sleeping on your back, one is enough. You don't want to lose all of your gains that you've been working on at the gym. You want to maximize your gains.